Hello Libras, welcome to your video. We're going to talk about your perfect counterparts energy. We're talking about archetypes, of course. No video like this can determine if your person is your divine counterpart. You would have to analyze the entire chart of you and your person. But we're going to talk about the archetypes right now and what's the perfect match for the Libra archetype. Before we dive right in, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Janine. I am an astrologer, obviously. I am a spiritual coach, a manifestation coach, and a psychic medium. I am available for personal readings or your own astrology analysis. You can contact me. My contact information is below or in the About Me page. I'm feeling a bit like a stewardess right now, a flight attendant. Spot the Gemini rising is the person talking with their hands. But again, Libra. First of all, it's very important for me to make you understand that any sign can be your divine counterpart. So if you ever read anywhere, oh no, this cannot be my person because we're not a match, please disregard that. That is way too shallow. And in this channel right here, we don't do shallow. We dive in deep, okay? Because what would not be a typical match for Libra? Let's see. Let's say Leo, for example. And it's just an example because Libra is a sign that likes to give, and Leo, if it's unhealed, would be a sign that can be very generous, but they like to be admired, they like the spotlight, and that could create some imbalance of one person always giving or one always taking, for example, okay? But again, disregard that. It was just an example I used, so don't think like, oh no, my person is a Leo, no, it's not a good match. No, I want to say they can be your perfect match, okay? Because when we check your chart, we need to check the entire thing. So even if you're a Libra, your person would be a Leo, you would think like, oh no, I'm afraid they are not a match. You need to check your chart. Maybe you are a Leo rising or you are a Leo moon, and then you have Leo energy, and that would be a good match. Or you have your sun in Libra in the 5th house, in the Leo house, and that could be a good match as well. Or the other person will have a Libra moon or Libra rising, or will they have their sun in the 7th house, the Libra house, then they will have Libra energy. So you need to check the entire thing. You know, you cannot just pick one thing. And something you find in soulmates very often is exactly what I was just talking about. One person's sun, moon, rising sign would be found in the other person's sun, moon, rising sign. So if you are a Libra, there is a good chance that your person would be a Libra rising or Libra moon. Or there would be something, let's say again Leo, and then you would be Leo rising or Leo moon. That is something that's very, very, very common. Even if you don't have that, don't worry about it, because you may have some other amazing stuff in your synastry. And synastry is putting two horoscopes on one over the other to find out how your planets interact. And you may have some amazing stuff that would talk about a long-lasting relationship. Again, so we have to see the entire chart. Your divine counterpart, if your divine counterpart is a soulmate, can be any sign, any energy. We have to check the entire thing. So please don't ever say no to a person just because you read, oh, they're not a match. You don't know maybe their sun sign or their moon sign or their rising sign. And if you don't know their rising sign, you don't know the houses either. And again, they may have their sun in the Libra house and thus also having Libra energy, and then it would be very good. But again, your perfect counterpart could be any sign. Okay, but we're talking about archetypes right now, and we cannot talk about every single birth chart out there. There are billions of people, so we're talking about the Libra archetype. What would be a perfect match for the Libra archetype? And again, it might not apply to you because you have other stuff going on in your horoscope. Okay, please keep that in mind. So for the Libra archetype, what would be a good match? And when we talk about archetype, then there is something is called the mirror soul archetype, and a mirror soul would have a lot in common with you. They would have the same sun placement, the same moon placement, maybe the same rising sign, same Venus sign, Mercury. They would have a lot of the same placements. But again, we cannot talk about the moon and everything. We just talk about Libra right now. So not every Libra would be a mirror soul. Again, they would have a lot in common with you. But let's say you attracted a mirror soul that has a lot in common with you, not a Libra. And that could be either very good or not so good at all. And the thing is, if you attract another Libra, it depends on your level of ascension, your level of maturity. If you still have a lot of shadows, you will of course attract somebody who has a lot of shadows. And if you attract another Libra, they will have the same shadows, and that can drive you crazy, and you will drive them crazy, because you see your faults in the other person, and having the same shadows can mean that it's not compatible, because you maybe both won't give in, or you both may avoid conflict, and that could be not a good thing. However, if you're field and then you ascended and then you attract another Libra, you will of course attract another ascended Libra. When we're talking about mirror souls, that can be a very peaceful connection, because since you're both Libras, you get each other, you have the same energy, you share the same energy, and so you understand each other very, very well. Usually these connections, when you attract each other, when you're ascended, they don't bring a lot of spiritual growth in itself, which is okay, because first of all, not every soul chose to do that. Not every soul came down here to experience that, or some souls came down here to experience that not with a divine counterpart, but in another aspect in their life, maybe with their family, maybe with health issues, maybe with work. So okay, that's completely fine. But in these connections, you don't see a lot of growth, because if you attract somebody who's just like you, it usually brings stagnancy. You don't have any other factors that trigger your growth, because you would need some differences in order to do that. However, again, it could be a very, very harmonious connection, and not every soul chose to go on this journey with another soul, and that's perfect. It's fine, So depending on your level of ascension, another Libra could be perfect for you if you don't have too many shadows you trigger. Then of course, very perfect for Libra would be another air sign. The other air signs would be Aquarius and Gemini. And we do have the air signs here. You see it's a masculine sign, since it's pointing up like a phallic symbol, and they have the line, it's the yellow, representing air. So another air sign already gets the other air sign, because you share this air connection, and so there is already some sameness going on that would understand each other. And also the air signs in astrology would form trines, because they're 100 degrees apart in the chart. And if something is 120 degree apart, it is forming a trine, and a trine is the most harmonious aspect in astrology. It's the flowing aspect, and that means that another air sign would already understand you, but through that flowing aspect, there's flowing different energy between those two, because the air signs are all ruled by different planets. Libra is ruled by Venus, then we have Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and co-ruled by Uranus. So they all have already different energy bringing that to the table, and that can of course enhance your life, because again, we evolve if we are confronted with something that is different. However, the other air signs are similar enough to evolve in a very, very peaceful and harmonic way. So there's not a lot of trauma and triggering usually going on. But again, that also depends on your level of ascension, and also on other stuff. So please don't say, oh yeah, I knew that Aquarius and it triggered me like crazy. You may have some nasty stuff in your synastry, so it doesn't apply to every Libra and every Aquarius and every Gemini. Again, we have to see the entire chart. But Usually another air sign is a very good match. It is not, again, not a connection where you have the great spiritual involvement, because we often involve by getting triggered, by dealing with shadows, and another air sign usually wouldn't trigger that many shadows. Again, they can, depending on your level, but usually it's very harmonious. And that's typically those people who meet, they know, wow, we go along together well, they get together, and then they stay together for the rest of their life. So it is that harmonious connection. Very good for Libra as well, and we would find that in a split twin connection would be Aries. However, Aries, and why Aries? Aries is governing the first house and Libra is the 7th house. It's the polar opposite, and that can go very well or very bad. It depends, again, on your level of ascension, and it depends on you need to bring something else to the table that would connect you, because again, it's opposing energy, and Aries can be a bit temperamental, and Libra is they crave harmony. So that could be like a mismatch when we have someone who has a temper and then the most harmonious placements. So you need to have something in common. And in split twin connections, we often find opposites, and it could be like, again, the Aries Libra opposite. My split twin flame and I, we do have the same sun sign, Virgo, but in opposite houses, because we have the opposite rising sign. So split twins could be, again, it could be another Libra if you have oppositions, but it could be your opposite sign, which would be down here, Aries and Libra, and you will have to have a third factor that is connecting you two, and that could be the moon in the same sign, or you are your sun in Aries and Libra, but you have your sun in the same house, for example, or you have the moon in the same house. You will need more than one factors that are the same, and that way you can balance out the opposition, because again, a Libra is the complete opposite from Aries, black and white, and black and white either does not go together at all, or they make it work because they balance it out. And since they're polar opposites, they're kind of like always connected. They're always like magnets drawing each other in, but if there's no difference, there is no sameness, then they will repel each other, so you will have that sameness to draw each other in. And since it's an opposition, it's a harsh aspect, it's a hard aspect. It's not as flowing as the trining aspect in the soul twin connection, which makes the split twin connection rather painful, because again, you have to deal with the polar opposite. You have to learn to balance that, and you are confronted with your shadows in a very like painful way, and that is what's triggering the runner and chaser dynamic, for example, and this healing journey. So with this harsh aspect, you have a better chance to actually ascend than with the trining aspect, because the trining aspect is not as triggering. There's not as much shadow work that is coming up, and the opposition will bring a lot of shadow work up, which is a good thing if your soul chose to do that, because that gives you the possibility to ascend even higher than the more harmonious connections. So it's a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing, and it can be a curse at the same time. It feels like a curse for some part of the journey when you still have those shadows within you, the anger and all of that stuff. But once you have ascended, you will balance the other energy out. And again, split twin flames will have similar energy, and they will tap into that to connect, and then they can balance the opposition, and then it will be the perfect match, because they both bring to the table what the other one does not have at all. And then they can have a connection that enhances each other, because they complement each other. But again, you will have to have common ground. And did I show you the symbols? I don't know, for the split twin, it's the masculine signs. Even though split twin, and that's the trick, I explained that in my in-depth video about divine counterpart connection, is soul split again and again and again and again. So your higher soul would already be either more feminine or masculine. However, it will always have the other part in it. So in your case, your oversoul is masculine, more masculine, still has feminine. However, when that split happened, one soul shows more the feminine aspect, usually the woman, doesn't have to be, and one soul shows the more masculine aspect, but they still share the oversoul that is more masculine. But again, yin yang has the yin, the black has the white spot, you know, and it might be more one, but again in split twins they are more one energy, but however it's split, and one will have the feminine, one will have the masculine aspect, even though they are in the oversoul masculine. And they have to be masculine because the opposing houses are always either feminine or masculine, because they're either odd houses. All of the odd houses, 1, 3, 5, 7 and so on, are masculine houses, and the even houses are feminine houses. Yeah, let's talk about the monadic twin flame energy. And when we talk about Libra, then you see the counterpart would be Earth, because they share the line and they are masculine and feminine, the matching energy. And for you guys, Libra, it would be Taurus. Why Taurus? Because Libra and Taurus are both ruled by Venus. So you both are Venus signs. You both already have that. You know, like the split twin connections, they need a third factor that is the same. Whereas in monadic twin flames, they are the same because they're the same soul. This split never happened, only in the very lower energies. And by lower, I mean the physical body. But on the higher level, they are still connected. And so they are still the same energy. In this case, it would be Venus energy. However, it would be the yin yang, because Libra is the masculine aspect. And we saw here the air sign is the masculine aspect of Venus, and Taurus would be the feminine aspect of Venus. So they already get each other. They share the same, in this case, Venus energy. They are Venusian souls that chose to come here, and still the yin is looking for the yang. Again, that does not mean that every Taurus is your divine counterpart, or if you're dealing with a Taurus, that they are your monadic twin flame. Again, you have to check the entire chart, because you will not only have that in one planet, you will have that in pretty much all of the planets, the yin yang energy. Especially moon sign is very important. And you will only attract a monadic twin flame if you have one. They're very rare. Once you have already ascended, once you already have done the healing, you will not be able to attract a monadic twin if there's a lot of shadow. So if you still have, if you attracted a Taurus and there's a lot of pain and shadow stuff going on, and you triggered at each other like crazy, it's not your monadic twin flame. However, it could still be your perfect match once you're healed, because again, Taurus and Libra go together very well, since they are, when it comes to the essence, both Venusians. You know, they are the same species, you could say. They are man and woman from the same species. So perfect match. Let's wrap it up again. When we talk about Libra, a very good match for Libra would be another Libra, depending on your soul ascension level. Like, all of that depends, of course, on your own ascension level. But Libra, then we have the other air signs, which would be Aquarius and Gemini. Then for Libra we have Aries, the opposing sign, if you make it work, if you have common ground. And then again for Libra it would be Taurus. So yeah, but don't forget, any sign can be your divine counterpart, because not everybody does have a twin flame or monadic twin flame or twin soul. Not every soul chose to experience that. Your soulmate can have any sign. We would have to look at synastry to see how your planets interact. Okay, I hope this helped, and if it did, please help me by liking, subscribing, check out my other content, share my videos with your friends, and of course you can book your own analysis with me. My contact information is below, and I wish you all the best now. Bye bye.